All right, this is just a quick video to set up this project that we're going to be doing. This probably our last Photoshop project. It's going to be a 2-day thing. You have time today, you'll have time tomorrow. The only thing posted on Classroom is a project page or help page. I'm going to show you some of that. Here's what's important. Use whatever Photoshop stuff you know. Just solve the problems that you have to try and build this thing the best you can. Not everybody was here for every class, so use what you know to do what you can do. Create something on this assignment that you like. It's going to have a theme, and so pick something you like. Don't sit here and do something that you don't enjoy. You know, don't work on something that you're not having a little bit of fun doing. So pick something you like to build in Photoshop. Keep it school appropriate. Everything has to be school appropriate. When I say don't quit too soon, I mean don't just be in a rush to get the assignment done and be done. Work on it. You're going to have 2 class periods to work on this, so work on it a little bit. Be original. Just dream up something in your head and then try to make it happen. And yeah, let's move on here. You're going to have a theme, so you'll have to think about that. What's the theme of my Photoshop composite going to be? And then you get out there and you collect some images if you need to off the internet, and then you go to work in Photoshop and put it together. Here's how the points break down. You start with a blank Photoshop document, and that's worth 10 points. You have to have a theme. Like I said, this can't just be a random collection of images. That's worth 10 points. You have to create something different than something you've already done. So if you've already done one topic, you're going to have to switch it up and do something different. I don't want the same thing you do over and over. That's worth 10 points. You have to use at least 5 different school-appropriate images. That's worth 40 points. That's a pretty big chunk. So at least 5, make sure you're counting. You have to have some text in there one way or another. You could use the type tool in Photoshop to do it, but if there's text on an image that appears in the composite, then that would work too. The text thing is 10 points, so you have to have text in there one way or another. 10 points for that. And then using time well is really just pretty much an effort score, right? Put some effort into what you do. If you're done in 5 minutes, you didn't try very hard. But I also don't want it to turn into a thing that takes 2 weeks to get done. So that's a 20-point effort score. And if you add all this up, it's 100 points. Okay. I've got a few other things on the project page just to remind you about things that we did in class, and there's some keyboard shortcuts on there. All right, but I'm going to hop over here to Photoshop, and just the only other thing I'm going to do is show you mine real quick. I'm a big science fiction fan, so I like science fiction movies and series and things like that. So what you see here, I built this. I wanted it to be about space, science fiction, and I put in spaceships from like movies and series that I like, right? So like here we have an X-Wing fighter that comes from Star Wars, and here this is the USS Enterprise that comes from Star Trek, and then this one's called the Rocinante, which is from a series called The Expanse, and not very many people have really seen that one. So I've got these spaceships in here they represent science fiction series and movies and things that I enjoy. I got a space background in there. Right here, I'll have it blinking. I have this actually Titan, one of the moons of Saturn, but I got a Google image of it. I did a Google search and copied it and pasted it. And this part that's blinking here is Phoebe, another one of the moons of Saturn. I used that in my composite image. These mountains right here are actually from Arizona, I think. I just did a kind of a search for desert landscape and found this and liked it, and I did an adjustment layer on it. You see how this is what it originally looked like, and then by doing an adjustment layer, we did a lesson about adjustment layers. By doing an adjustment layer, I made it look a little darker and redder, and that's what I wanted. And then of course, like I said, I've got my spaceships here, and I did a little trick with the blur filter. I went to filter and blur, and I blurred some things to make it look like the spaceships are flying. They have some blur behind them, right? And I added this astronaut standing here looking at all of it. And then I also have a type layer, right? The type layer just says the final frontier. So the assignment here really is to just get in there and create something that you like in Photoshop. Just get in there and, be creative and build something. And, all the requirements are posted on this handout over here. So you got 2 class periods. You got this class period and the next one, and off you go.